What's up, future millionaire? So today we have a treat. I have the pleasure of talking with Forex. He's going to be dropping some alpha for us. I have him here in the back audience here. I'm going to bring him up here for a second. And so before we bring on Forex, for those that may not know, he did announce the Animal Farm launch date will be announced next Tuesday, which is August 30th. So be sure to go ahead and smash and subscribe to the channel. I have some great content here for us today. I have quite a few things to ask Forex if he doesn't touch on it. And I'm going to just kind of dig into some things that he touch on. And then also, we know Forex likes to drop a lot of alpha. So I'm going to let Forex kind of just do his thing and kind of talk about what he wants to express. So further ado, Forex, I want to say thanks for coming on. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you perfect. In the audience, give us a thumbs up if the audio sounds perfect before we continue.
Awesome.
And while people are doing that, Forex, I just want to say thanks for coming on. I know you're a busy man, so I'm looking forward to this AMA/interview. And I know you got a lot of alpha for us to drop. Right now, we have about 304 people watching the live stream, and so definitely subscribe and hit the like button.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited for this. Yeah, I appreciate the other videos you did. I checked them out. I shared them. The community had an amazing response to them. So I was very excited about this. And also, I'm excited to do a follow-up in a couple weeks when we have the official date for Animal Farm as well. But, I knew that you wanted to do something about drip, and, drip is fully active. We do have some stuff about to drop for drip. But of course, we have the main products which are available now that we can discuss, right now. So
for sure. And before we dive into the whole ecosystem, what the whole ecosystem has coming for us, Animal Farm, the new products for the Animal Farm, the drip UI, all of that good stuff. I have quite a bit of notes down here. Let's go ahead and kind of let the audience know, because of course this is the first time that you've came onto the show. And so kind of just, if you would just give them a brief understanding of, who's Forex, and kind of lead into the drip ecosystem from that point, if you will.
Sure. I've been working in the space for a decade, so I'm going to give a super truncated version. But in 2012, that's when I first got into crypto. I saw some articles about it, some whispers here and there. And a friend who was running a sports book at the time had their payment processor shut down. And they were looking for ways that they could offer their online sports book without credit or debit, or have some sort of backup. And that's when I made the suggestion to him, potentially we could utilize this Bitcoin. Another sports book that was, kind of buzzing at the time, just integrated Bitcoin. And that's how I first heard about it. So I ended up helping create a Bitcoin on-ramp for them in late 2012. I bought about $500 worth of Bitcoin for myself. And then I kind of fell back. I treated it as not really an investment, because I didn't see really the opportunity there, but I did see it as an alternative for payment processing. And then about, 6 months later, I saw that Bitcoin was over $100. I bought it for $14, and I was like, oh, hold on, like this is there's something here. And this was around the time that WikiLeaks also got their payment processor shut down, so they decided to accept Bitcoin. That was, I think, the first major proof of concept for Bitcoin, that it could be used as an uncensorable DeFi payment structure. And that's when I kind of jumped in head first. I was already trading Forex, which is how I got, how I started using the name Forex Shark. I started a Discord server. I had a lot of friends that were telling me, please, we're interested in learning how to trade. I never taught how to trade formally, but I looked at it as an opportunity to share some info with my friends and also use it as a kind of trade journal, the Discord. And a couple years after that, I got hooked up with some people that were doing some very early ICOs, and a VC group that was funding some Bitcoin related companies. And this is in the very early days of Ethereum, where initially there weren't ICOs, it was just Ethereum. But then in around 2018, there started being ICOs. And then pre-sales, I got linked up with a friend who was deploying a DeFi product and needed help hosting a pre-sale. I had this, at that time, Discord group with maybe 1,000 users in it. So he came to me because he was already a member of my group. He was interested in trading and all of that. And he saw potentially an opportunity to raise capital in my Discord server. And this is very early on, I'd say like mid 2018, something like that. And he also, he was a very strong coder and developer. He had very little knowledge of markets. And he was interested in having me come on as an advisor. So I came on as an advisor for him. I helped him raise capital for the project. The project ended up doing 10x, like almost instantly. I, made a huge return. All of my Discord members that got involved in the sale made a huge return. And from that point on, it was on as far as DeFi goes. I used the connect that I had made through this developer to connect with several other developers, hosted a few more pre-sale raises that were all relatively successful. And then I kind of got some attention in the space from large influencer groups. I joined Moonshot Hunters, which is the #1 general crypto group. I'm one of the administrators. You could call me one of the founders because I was on in the very early days. I kind of made it what it is today. And through being an administrator and one of the founders of this major crypto Telegram group, I was able to secure even larger advisory roles and pre-sale roles for projects like TrustSwap, BitGear, 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥, RioDAO, really at the time the top projects in the space. And we raised capital for them. I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars of capital for these top projects. And then about 2 years ago, I saw the opportunity to do something very interesting, and that was to develop the first deflationary reflective reward token. And at the time, now people think of reflective reward tokens as that's what a lot of meme tokens are. They're kind of run of the mill. But at the time, this was the first ever deflationary reflective reward token. And I loved that model because it was a model that rewarded people for being holders, and it rewarded people for, doing positive actions for the other holders in the space. I saw it as a simple model, one contract that really aligned the incentives in a very elegant and clean way. And I saw it as a starting point that we could build on. And I launched it. It did amazing. We did, 50x immediately after launch. We've done something like 700x. Right now, it's about 700x from our launch. And then the prices of ETH, because it's an ERC20 token, got very expensive. It became slow. So we wanted to migrate over to BSC. And migrating over to BSC required another raise. And this is when I decided to take that ERC20 token and turn it into essentially the ticket for a DAO model. So in order to join the current DAO group that we have, you need to hold 300 REAP tokens, and that gives you access to our DAO where we host private and third-party raises, pre-sale raises. And shortly after that, we raised capital for BREAP and DRIP, and we launched BREAP and DRIP. DRIP is what we're talking about today. BREAP was extremely successful. We did something like 40x in the first couple months. Then there was a major market correction, and I'm not speaking specifically about BREAP, but the whole market at the time corrected. And that's when I decided now's a good time to launch DRIP. And whenever I develop a new product or a new token, I always look to integrate my previous tokens. This way, we're not just doing what other devs do and kind of, on to the next one, forgetting about your past investors, forgetting about your old projects. I always look to integrate my old projects into the new ones to bring, you know, a renewed excitement into them, to give new use cases to them, and to continue to support them and my investors. So this is why 𝗬𝗡 is still, you know, performing very well. It's way over listing price, you know, which is more than that could be said about really any of the tokens, minus a handful that listed in 2019, 20, 21. And 𝗬𝗡 still performing very well. And 𝗬𝗢 is, if you consider the yield that we've paid out since launch, we have outperformed any of the major altcoins. So you look at Cake, you know, you look at Uni, you look at Sushi, any of these altcoins, when you consider the yield that we're paying out, which is 1% compound interest, 1% ROI on your principal, with some, you know, limitations like max payout and, you know, different mechanics to keep it sustainable, we have outperformed all of these major assets. And now we're kind of at a point that we're ready to make the next step up, because we have a series of new products that are coming out, which both support 𝗬𝗢 and 𝗬𝗡 and provide new investment opportunities for the 𝗬𝗢 ecosystem and the 𝗬𝗢 community. So that's where we're at right now. That's kind of a you know, from all the way from when I first heard about Bitcoin to right now, you know, summed up.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You've been in the space for a very long time, been developing for a long time. And so now let's just kind of, I guess, dive into the nitty gritty, because I know everybody is waiting. And I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but I just want to also let you know I've done my homework, of course, as well. So let me know, is this still kind of the order that everything is going to come out Forex? First, we have the Animal Farm. You have the products for the Animal Farm, which is the pig pen game, dog roulette game. Then after that, we will have the drip UI. And then after that we have the new drip and reservoir product, which I believe you said will come out around the same time, which would be kind of like an overlap. And then from there you'll be working on like the Scratchy pre-sale and Scratchy launch. So it's a lot to unpack there, but go ahead and, you know, pick it apart if I'm incorrect on anything.
No, you're correct. So first we have Animal Farm, and with Animal Farm we needed to, so we're currently in testing and audits. The preliminary audits have already been done, but we're doing a lot of in-house testing as well, stress testing, setting up massive test environments on side chains that we've developed just for testing. We hired 2 additional developers, third-party developers that didn't work on the code, that didn't develop any of the code, to come on to give kind of a third-party look from a different perspective. Very, very competent developers. And we needed to be able to set a date where we would make our launch date announcement. But I never like to make any kind of launch date or any kind of launch date announcement until all the testing and audit and all the development is finished. So what I did is I set a date that I knew everything would be finished, and I was conservative about it, because I didn't want to, you know, make it too early. So I set the end of the month. We would create the, we would deliver on the launch date of Animal Farm, which will be about a month out from when we give the launch date. That's going to give us a very strong, about a month and a week of concentrated promotion. And we already have about 35 different marketing vehicles, and that goes from everything from Twitter influencers to banner ads on all the major sites, interviews with some major YouTubers, articles, some Twitter spaces. We just scheduled a Twitter space with a Binance affiliate that has over 500,000 followers on Twitter. He does Twitter spaces for, you know, the top projects in the space. We just scheduled that. So we have a major concentrated, you know, promotional plan that will be every day something new that will be hyping and getting people ready for the launch of Animal Farm. Then Animal Farm goes live early October, in the first week of October. And I'm releasing some alpha right here. So you'll get the exact date next Tuesday, but it's in the first week of October. We'll be going live with Animal Farm. And then About 2 weeks after that, we'll be launching the Dogs Roulette and the Pigpen game. Very shortly after that, we'll be launching, I would say about 2-3 weeks after that, we'll be launching the new Drip UI, and that new Drip UI will come in conjunction with the new contracts. And the new contracts are, they're not alternatives to the reservoir or alternative to the faucet, because we don't want to draw attention from the faucet or from the reservoir. Those are our main products, and they will remain the main products for Drip. But they're essentially a layer that lives on top of them that adds another gamification mechanic that rewards people for getting into the faucet, and it creates essentially an extra incentive to get into the faucet and into the reservoir. But when they stake into the reservoir or into the faucet, it goes into the same contracts as the existing reservoir and into the existing faucet. So it supports the reservoir and it supports the current investors in there, but there's a new level of gamification to it, and that level of gamification is rewarding large depositors and rewarding essentially random people that enter in, but not in a way like anybody else has done it in the past. The way that there has been some people that have created gamified structures for getting into staking contracts that will reward, say, the largest depositor or a random depositor. And if it's not done correctly, then you have a situation where right before this period ends, the system gets botted. People all jump in to try to be that largest depositor. You get a spike in the price, and that just creates an opportunity for the whales to dump then. And you just have an arbitrage, and that's all that happens. The way we've designed it is completely different. It's completely unique, and people are really going to love it. With the UI, we wanted to go, and I know people love the current Drip UI, but we wanted to give a more professional look to it. A look that is on par with what you would see from traditional investment banks. And we've completed the design. We're in the process of doing the code part of building the design. And another major adaptation or improvement that we've made to the new Drip model is the team airdropping system. So currently with the team airdropping system, if you want to airdrop somebody, first you need to put whatever filters you want to determine who is going to get rewarded on your team. This will give you a list of wallets that meet your requirements, and then you have to send one airdrop at a time, confirming each one at a time. And for people with thousands of members on their team, in some cases, they're doing hundreds of transactions. That gets expensive. That's time consuming. With the new model, the way that we're integrating it is with a original and independent airdropping contract. And when you create your filter of who you want to give airdrops to, you'll essentially just hit one button. Those addresses and amounts get fed to a contract, and then they're all sent out in one transaction. So it takes something that was, previously, taking up hours of people's time at some point, and sometimes $20, $30 if you're doing 100 transactions on BSC, now takes 3 seconds. So these are major improvements that we've wanted to do for a while. They required a full rework of the UI and contract work, and we've been so busy building all of these other use cases for Drip and our other products in the space that we needed to essentially bring on devs to specifically work on the Drip UI and the new Drip contract, which is something that we've done over the past couple months. I brought on James 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗏. James 𝗬𝗬𝗏 is a developer who has built several other alternative front ends to Drip that have some very cool analytic tools that make it very easy for the average user to understand the value that they're getting from the system and be able to plan their investment strategy in the platform. So another major thing that we're bringing to the new Drip site is these new analytical tools. And this image that you're showing right here is essentially just showing the structure of the new charting and the new swapping UI, just to show that we're going for a cleaner, more institutional feel. A lot of the design and a lot of the the stuff is missing, of course, because this isn't the finished product. And I showed a video, I don't know, about a month ago, with some of the additional design in there that will make it into the final version. But really, I just put this out to show people that it's being worked on. We're getting there, and it will be ready to go shortly after the Animal Farm launch. And then, to wrap it up with, I would say the short-term frame roadmap, essentially what we're going to get done by the end of the year, is Scratchy. And Scratchy, of course, is the first decentralized scratch ticket model. It allows influencers and other DeFi platforms to create their own brand of scratch tickets, have their own treasury. It has an affiliate marketing model that allows not only the platforms and the influencers that set up their own brands, but also the intermediates that help the hosting of our service also make a revenue stream from it. And this is going to be something massive, right? It's levels above any of the competition in the space when it comes to this kind of DeFi gaming. We've already brought on a few major DeFi platforms. One of them is a blue chip NFT project that's been around since 2018. We have a major crypto casino that's on board. And I actually just got out of a meeting with an influencer who is blowing up on YouTube right now. He's one of the most Googled people in the world right now. And I just got out of a call with his manager. I was able to give him the pitch decks. He's actually, this influencer is very interested in starting to get into crypto, and this is a perfect opportunity for him. So I think how we're going to start this relationship is first through the referral structure of Animal Farm, because that's very simple for him to get on board, right? He can show some promotion, he can explain it a bit, and then just share the link. And then when they see the kind of money they can make from that, that's when they're going to be all on board for the branding of their own tickets. But we already have about a dozen platforms that are extremely excited and ready to go with Scratchy. But first, Scratchy will be hosted on Animal Farm and Drip, which is massive because each platform for Scratchy has its own unique treasury. This treasury goes to the jackpot of each batch. And even though each platform has its own branding, there will still be some crossover promotion, and whatever platform has the largest treasury will get the most attention. And of course, this creates a level of competition, which is great for all of the other platforms, especially the large platforms that can come in and dominate. But Drip and Animal Farm having a head start there and allowing us to build up that treasury first gives a major opportunity for us when we're doing this cross promotion to bring in users and investors that are interested in Scratchy, and they come for Scratchy and they stay for Drip and they stay for Animal Farm. So we have so much coming, so much in the works. We're doing the UI right now for the game. We're calling it Dogs of Fortune, the hacker simulation game that is going to be part of the Animal Farm ecosystem. That's extremely fun to work on. That's a game I've been developing for 2 years. Initially I was going to do it on the ERC20 network, and then the prices got too expensive. It just didn't make sense. So I kind of put it on the back burner, and I've been waiting for the right opportunity to launch it on BSC or some other chain. I was considering maybe Solana, maybe BSC. I think Solana has had some roadblocks along the way, and BSC has progressed along the way in the realm of gaming. And initially, I wanted it to be its own standalone platform, but putting it as part of the Animal Farm ecosystem really, it compounds that value, and it raises both platforms or both products, exponentially. One of the reasons for this is because initially the pot for the game, what you can win in the game, was only being generated through the pay to play and the buy-in for the game, which has proven to be sustainable and is a extremely well balanced model that would have worked very well. But when you put it on top of the Pigpen governance model, it creates a new cash flow into the pot, or the game pool, the rewards that you can win in the game. It brings a new cash flow into that, which will greatly increase the amount of rewards you can win in the game. And also it creates a new reason and a new incentive to lock up capital in the Pigpen, because pigs that are used in the game get locked in the Pigpen and are utilized in the game and locked up. So it really supports both the Pigpen and the game, and it's it adds so much more value to the to both products. So I see you're showing the white paper right now. We just finished a pitch deck as well, and the reason for doing this is because we were reaching out to so many different influencers, and to explain the whole platform to them, if you don't have a really succinct way of doing it, they can get lost, especially if they're not super familiar with crypto. And of course, our white paper is very well documented, but it's also pretty long. So I'll be releasing 2 pitch decks tomorrow, one for Scratchy, one for Animal Farm, and they wrap up both products in a very detailed but succinct way in like less than 4 pages each. So be looking forward to that tomorrow, and that's something that you guys can share around to really onboard people efficiently, I feel.
Yeah, you unpacked a ton there. So just to try to sum up a little bit for people that's been coming in. So we know the date is August 30th, and then you gave us some alpha about Animal Farm, that it will be launched the first week of October. Is that correct, Forex?
Yeah, exactly.
So we got the Animal Farm, the farms in the pool that's going to launch. So will the dog pound as well? Because I know that's new, and you released that with the BSC news. Will that be launched as well at the same time as the Animal Farm?
Yeah, so that's very important that it is launched at the same time of Animal Farm. And the reason for that is because that is essentially the vesting model for our reward token, which is dogs. It's a very unique vesting model that has never been done before, but it's a major improvement on the current investment model. And the reason for this is because all current investment models are locking up tokens for a period of time. And what happens is, as those tokens unlock, they bleed onto the market. And you either have a scenario where you unlock it a little bit over time, and then you have that slow bleed over time, or even worse, you have a period where, okay, in 2 months, the tokens unlock. And in that case, you have that big panic sell before they unlock, because people know the bunch of tokens are about to hit the market. And you have an even deeper correction than you would have just from unlocking the tokens, because people are trying to, even if people are supporters of the platform, they're even going to dump it because they think, okay, I can dump it today and buy it back for lower after the unlock. Our model, instead of locking tokens, there's a variable tax on the dog token. And this variable tax is based on 2 loyalty scores. There's the token loyalty score, and then there is a wallet loyalty score. the token loyalty score is relative to a specific amount of tokens you have in the dog pound. So if you have 1,000 tokens in the dog pound, you're reducing the tax on those 1,000 tokens. And while you're reducing the tax on those 1,000 tokens, when people who have not reduced their tax transact or sell dogs, that tax that's applied to their dogs gets swapped for BNB and BUSD, 2/3 BNB, 1/3 BUSD. The BNB goes to pay out the stakers in the dog pound who are reducing their tax, and the BUSD is sent to the pig pen to reward the people that are using their dogs to farm pigs, the governance token, and grow their share ownership in the platform. And we have the only farm where you can secure profit on the platform in both BNB and BUSD without ever selling the native assets. So when you have a model where you don't need to sell our native assets, dogs and pigs, to earn a profit, and all the incentive structure is rewarding you and requiring you to stay locked up in the model for a period of time, it's creating a game theory that is designed to produce the highest performing yield generating assets that have ever hit the market. And I strongly believe that with these new mechanics, we will absolutely do that. And so I spoke about the token loyalty score. There's also a wallet loyalty score. And the reason why there's the two is because you cannot just have a pure wallet loyalty score where you're reducing the tax on the wallet for any dogs that transacts in the future, because that could open the door to people taking advantage of that. They reduce the tax on one wallet, and now they create some secondary contract where people can stake through that wallet, or there's all kinds of different things people could do there. But we want to reward people who are long-term users of the system. So to do this, we have the token loyalty score, which is reducing the tax on a specific amount of staked tokens, and the wallet loyalty score, which is capped at 30%. So you can only reduce the tax on a wallet by 30%. But from that point on, all tokens that are all dog tokens which are transacted by this wallet are reduced up to 30%. So this means that someone who has been in the system for a year, utilizing the system for a year or 2 years, starts off with their tax already reduced by 30%. So that takes a whole month off the time period that it takes for them to reduce their tax down to the minimal amount, and just sets them up to be rewarded for their loyalty to the system. So it's the only model that really has a structure to sustain the reward tokens for the farm, both the dogs token and the governance token, which is pigs. On top of this, we have the decentralized supply control algorithm, which is something that we developed, which showed its ability to perform in V1. And this is a algorithm which looks at the current demand for the underlying assets and adjusts the emissions within a range that allows it to become deflationary when the demand is lower, and increases the reward structure when the demand is high. So when the demand is high and a lot of people are buying, that's when the rewards are the highest they will be, to incentivize people to use those tokens that they just bought to get into the farms and pools. And when the demand is lower, that's when the assets become deflationary, and this deflationary mechanic allows for price appreciation, which makes the tokens more attractive, and it has this positive feedback loop that goes on that really allows the tokens to be sustainable, especially when you consider the new loyalty mechanic. And with V1, the price was performed very well. We did something like 20 or 30x immediately at launch, and then whenever you have a launch and you have this big 20-30x move, you're always going to have a slight correction and then the next leg up. And our supply control algorithm showed exactly what it's designed to do. When it was at that 20-30x high, the rewards are super high, everybody's staking, farming. Then we had that correction, which is natural. The supply control algorithm reduced the emission rate to deflationary, and then the price started pumping again, and we made that next leg up. So a lot of these mechanics have already proven themselves to be very high performing. And now with the new loyalty model, it's it's so much more powerful. It takes everything that worked with V1 and improves it, to the point where it's basically a new protocol. But it has all of the things that worked, and the things that we saw we could improve on, we improved on. And since I'm saying V1, V2, let me just very quickly say why we decided to go from a V1 to a V2. We do something called collateral hypothecation. So we take the collateral on the farm, the TVL, and we lend it to PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap then pays us 30-40% APY on this collateral that we're lending out to them. We had about $700 million in TVL in V1. That means we'd be earning anywhere from, say, $20 to $30 million a year on our TVL that we can use to pay the governance holders and pay for marketing, pay for further partner integrations through vaults. It allows us to really continue to evolve and to have the highest rewards out of any other platform in the space. PancakeSwap ended their V1 syrup pools, is what they call them, and went to a V2, and we were lending to their V1 pools. And because we're a fully decentralized protocol that it has immutable contracts, we had no ability to just decide we're going to change the contracts that we're lending to. So it took a full community effort to switch over to these V2 pools, which we have successfully been able to do. And it was important for us to do this because, $20-30 million a year is a lot of money. And that really can do a lot of work for us. So it was worth doing this migration. And then since we had to do a migration, I wanted to take the opportunity to make major improvements as well. And we also learned from this, and we created a mechanic that allows us to switch from say, for example, PancakeSwap decides they want to switch syrup pools again, do something like that. Now we can use the governance model to change the contract that we're lending to in a fully decentralized way that doesn't require us to pause anything, that doesn't require us to, switch liquidity pools, nothing like that. So, major improvements that we made, and we allowed for more flexibility without removing any of the decentralization or the security to the model. So, it's massive and it's extremely exciting. Some of these things I'm talking about, you can look at the pitch deck and you can look at the white paper and you can hear me and get a pretty good idea. But by the end of the week, we're going to have the new UI up. And once the new UI is up, then people can get a much better idea because they can actually look at the dashboards. They can see the table for the loyalty structure. They can see how they can interact with the different contracts. And all of these things will be much more clear to them. And when I say new website, I mean it. We're going to keep the same domain, but we're building out a completely new website because we brought on an additional developer to take the current website that we've built and really improve upon it, make it cleaner, make it have a more institutional feel to it, and just make it more clear, easier to use, a landing page. So when people click on our banner ads or get referred to our site, they're hitting a landing page first where they're seeing a video about the product. They're getting explanations about all the products, easier to navigate. So all of that will be going live by the end of the month.
Man, so we literally have a week left for that. So that's pretty awesome. So you have we got the animal farm that launches 1st of October. We got the new UIs that's coming out
first week of October.
I mean, first week of October. Sorry about that. And then we have the animal farm that's going to be launching the new UI for drip, the reservoir, and then the proc. So the question I will have, Forex, is how quickly are you gonna have these like linked like separated? I know the last AMA you did with Crypto Kings, and shout out to Crypto Kings, you mentioned they were gonna kind of come out like a couple weeks after each other. Is that still kind of like the plan for the rollout for each new product for the ecosystem?
Yeah, so Animal Farm, all of the contracts are completed. All of the the development is finished. The preliminary audits are finished. We're getting additional audits, so people will see where we have multiple audits that we'll be providing and doing just in-house stress testing. But the development is finished, so that's ready to go. The Dogs Roulette game, that is 100% finished, ready to go. The Dogs of Fortune, the hacker simulation game, the contracts are 100% finished. We're still working on the UI for it because we're putting a ton of work into the UI, but that will be finished, if not by the end of the month, a week after. So that will be 100% developed, ready to go a couple weeks after. Scratchy is 100% developed. The UI is developed. The contracts are developed. We're in audits. The drip UI, the design is completed. We're still doing some code work for the design. But what I'm getting at here is we have 5 or 6 products that are developed already. And we're either just doing some, cleanup cosmetic work of the UI. We're doing audits. We're doing testing. The development is finished. So over the past, say, 4 or 5 months, I've been putting in so much work. And not just on developing these products. So once we go live with the first one, we can deliver a new product, about every month for the next year, but also to the team. I brought on a project manager. I brought on a CMO with 20 years experience in the space. We partnered with 2 major marketing firms. We brought on 3 new developers. So a game dev that has a ton of experience building games. We brought on a Solidity dev to build Scratchy, who's a genius. The developer of Scratchy is also who we brought on to do third-party testing and audits of the Animal Farm. So that way we had someone that didn't build the contracts of Animal Farm that can give an independent look to it. We're also having branded audits hack in and these auditing firms do audits as well. And I've put in so much work into getting our development team and our full production team, in line and growing them while we've been developing these products. So, we're in a better place than ever. When I say that we've never put serious focus into paid marketing in the past, I mean it. And the reason for this is not due to a lack of effort. It's due to the fact that it was a 1 or 2 man show. It was myself and my partner bb. My partner bb is a very good Solidity dev and a great React dev, but he's no promoter, he's no marketer. He's not someone that knows anything about managing communities. So I was doing all of that myself, right? I was doing, working on my vision, coming up with, 99% of the mechanics and all of the game theory for the products, managing the community, doing the marketing, developing the referral structures, doing the interviews, doing the AMAs. I was doing almost everything by myself outside of development, which BB was doing a lot of the work, in conjunction with me. So, of course, I did my best with paid marketing. We got banner ads. I did as many AMAs and interviews as I could handle, while finding time for everything else. But we didn't have someone with experience specifically in managing a marketing budget and running a marketing campaign. And now we do. And this person has 20 years experience specifically with social media marketing, running YouTube ads, running Twitter ads, banner ads, and analyzing traffic. So determining where we're getting traffic from, what ads are working the best, where we should be putting our resources. And then on top of this, we partnered with 2 major marketing firms that are specifically crypto marketing firms who are very well connected in the space. And this way, we can utilize their contacts and utilize their ability to get us in the door with all of these marketers and platforms, but we're not relying on them to, manage our budget or anything like that. Because I see that as a kind of conflict of interest. The same people that are selling us the service, managing our budget, we're not going to go for that. But we have the best of both worlds, where we have someone that's very skilled at managing budgets and determining where resources need to go and where our traffic is coming from, working hand in hand with two of the top crypto marketing firms in the space. And yeah, because of that, we already have like 30 different marketing vehicles lined up. Tomorrow, I have an interview with a woman who has done interviews with, major Fortune 500 companies and major sporting events. And we're doing it for a YouTube ad. So, we're going to do a interview to answer some of the major questions about Animal Farm. Then we're going to have about a 30-second hook. So people that see the YouTube ad get hooked in, they start watching it. And then it goes into an interview where we answer questions about it. And there's some stuff that's, proprietary about our marketing strategy that I can't leak, but due to the experience of the people I'm working with, we can get extremely efficient use out of our budget for things like social media ads, using strategies where, if someone doesn't watch for a period of time, we don't pay for the ad. If people don't if it doesn't result in a turnover, we don't pay for the ad on various sites, that kind of stuff. And also, we're using different referral structures in the ads as a type of call to action reward. So when people use the ad, they generate a referral bonus, which goes into reward pool that we can use. For example, click this ad in the next 30 seconds and you get, a chance to win this prize payout. But to pay this prize payout, we're not needing to mint tokens or inflate the supply. It's coming from the referral structures that already exist in the system. So, and that allows us to track where our traffic is coming from based on what referral links they're using. Like, we're taking this to the next level as far as marketing. And we have the products that are next level, that we have the innovative products, and now we have the marketing to match. So, I see us really becoming top players in the space, more so than we already have. I mean, last year, we were the top growing BSC platform for 8 out of the 12 months. And that was with almost no paid marketing. So, I mean, this isn't just a matter of providing marketing for Animal Farm and Scratchy either, because these products are integrated directly into Drip. And, one of the native pools on Animal Farm is Drip BUSD. So whenever we do any marketing for Scratchy or Animal Farm, it directly promotes Drip. And also, we will be doing some direct Drip marketing as well, using some of the budgets that we're generating from these new Drip contracts. Because currently, we have no dev fee on any of the Drip contracts. And that is great, right? But it limits us as far as having a budget for marketing. These new Drip contracts will have a very, very, I'm talking like 0.2% fee on it, a fee that doesn't affect any individual user, but over time, with the amount of volume we do, will allow us to have a marketing budget for Drip as well that we're going to take full advantage of. It'll be the first time we have a real marketing budget for Drip as well. So, really, really excited for what's about to come.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice, man. So I have one question I want to ask as well, and then we can get to a few community questions I have kind of put out to the side. Basically, some questions that haven't been really asked too much or talked about too much. But one question I have for you, Forex, is I know last time you talked about you had a business meeting with Chainlink, and they were blown away about your whole overtake and how you just went about doing it. They wanted to basically utilize one of your products, and you said, hey, we don't really have something that makes sense right now, but let us work on something to do it. And they really like how you went about doing that. And so I know you said the following week you had another meeting with Chainlink. So can you kind of touch on that a little bit for the community about anything at least you can share as far as any alpha? Because I know you were real big on making sure Chainlink showed the world that they truly stand behind Drip, and I think that's a massive thing to do. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, one thing that I haven't mentioned, which is another piece of alpha, these new contracts that we're developing for the Drip platform also utilize Chainlink. So it's another major opportunity for Chainlink, and that's the thing that I was telling them is just let us do something that really utilizes Chainlink in an innovative way. That way, when we do this, this collaboration, it's something you can be proud of, and it's something that you can show off. And this is what we developed. Well, we didn't develop Scratchy for this, but it was one of the reasons why we decided to go with something like Scratchy. And these new contracts for Drip also utilize Chainlink in an innovative way, using some of the tech that we innovated and developed for Scratchy. Now, the last meeting with Chainlink was with their CMO, and it was specifically to discuss co-marketing. And one of the things we discussed is where we'll produce specific articles that Chainlink can share on their social media, different platforms that Chainlink can use to promote our products, and how we can get some sort of grant or potentially reduced price on the link we're doing to utilize their products. Not so much because we're worried about the price, or because that's baked into the tickets, just as a way to really for Chainlink to signal that they're on board with us and they really see the potential of our platform. And the CMO was equally as as taken away by Chainlink. She was a little less technical, but she understands it from a promotional standpoint because she's the CMO of the company, and she realizes how this is going to cause a ton of platforms to integrate Chainlink directly into their platform. And one of the most bullish things about that is anytime Chainlink is integrated into a new platform, it becomes an opportunity for them to do a new promotion, a new opportunity for them to post this on their social media and in their Telegram and on the blogs that they like to work with. So there's some specific websites that do blogs that they like to work with that we went over, like what templates we would use and all of that. So we have a very good plan worked out with them as far as co-promotion. But I think one of the most bullish things is the fact that every time a new platform integrates Scratchy into their model, it becomes a new opportunity for us to do a co-promotion with Chainlink, who has hundreds of thousands of users watching their social media. And that's something that they are equally excited about, because every time someone integrates Scratchy, they're integrating Chainlink directly into a new protocol. And this is one of the things we discussed, and they recognize the value of that. And we do have a solid co-promotion plan worked out with them. And we have a follow-up when we deliver on the launch date effectively. We have another follow-up with them so we can schedule like exact timing for our co-promotion. This is with Scratchy, but as I say, Scratchy will be going live first on Drip and Animal Farm. So the first co-promotion with Chainlink will be directly promoting Drip and Animal Farm. So it's something that I am excited about, and thanks for bringing that up, because that's big, right? Like, I think co-promotion with a major platform is one of the best marketing you can have. And that's something that it is difficult because there's so many malicious actors in the space, and there are only, I would say, maybe a couple dozen legitimate platforms that really are doing it right and providing something unique. And we've already made connection with a handful of them that are ready to just integrate Scratchy, add Scratchy to their system. And also some platforms that aren't even DeFi platforms. They're just crypto adjacent, or they have an influencer that is related to, they do videos about Scratchy, and I can even talk with you potentially, maybe privately after this, because Scratchy is a model where if you can sell tickets, you can create a new revenue stream for yourself and host your own branding with your own website. This is something that really any influencer that has the ability to sell tickets can do. And you have a pretty large following. So, this is something that I would be open to discussing with you. Maybe not immediately after launch, but maybe something that we can work out along the way. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And so we've got a couple questions here from the community. And I mean, you've dropped so much alpha. So first and foremost, I want to say thanks for dropping the alpha on this live stream. It's going absolutely crazy. We got 1,042 people currently watching. So appreciate everyone showing the love. The first question I have was an earlier question from 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗏𝗧𝗏. It really wasn't a question, but I thought it was very interesting. And here it is. He says, we need a partial claim option, one that we can claim some for airdrops and auto hydrates the balance or liberates drip to the res automatically, which is the reservoir. Will stop people selling the balance of part of claim. So is that anything that's been maybe talked about in the future, having like a partial claim, or you don't really feel there's like a big enough need for one at this time?
Okay, well, so a partial claim would be possible. It would take a restructuring of the underlying code. Right. And I'm very careful about restructuring anything, because once someone has deposited into the system, they are making a commitment for a period of time. And I think it's very important to respect this commitment and not changing the game on someone once they've already made that commitment. Now, something like this doesn't really affect the the ROI or the payout structure, so it's something we could consider. And as far as claiming to the reservoir, this is something that it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense, but the thing is, with the reservoir, that's a liquidity providing contract where you deposit BNB. It uses half that BNB to buy drip and then adds liquidity. If you were taking drip alone as a single asset and depositing it into the reservoir, then half of that drip would need to be sold for BNB in order to create that pair. So I'm not sure that model would actually create positive price action in drip, because it would it would bake in sell pressure into the system. Now, potentially, we could have a model where someone deposits BNB, and when they deposit BNB, it takes that BNB and pairs it with available drip in the reservoir, and potentially even gives a tax break for doing it. So, that's an idea. So I see a seed of an idea there that could build something cool. And I've heard suggestions for that in the past. It's just, some of these things aren't as simple as people, it sounds good to do that, but then when you think of the underlying mechanics where that would require selling half the drip anyways, and you're forcing people to sell part of that drip instead of them just compounding it, which, increases their principal, increases their ROI without selling the token, you have to really give it some thought before you do something like this. But, I do see the potential there. I see the potential there. So I'll give it some thought, and I appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with the little question here, because I definitely 100% get where you're coming from, adding additional sell pressure. So this right here by New Inception says, will Drip Liberation 2.0, is it going to have a feature to transfer drip tokens into the drip BUSD LP token? Now, I would assume that's done by design, because if we would do that, I mean, yes, it's still a pair of 50 drip, 50% BUSD. However, that will still add some type of sell pressure. Is that correct if you were to do this?
Yeah, exactly. So we have the ability to add liquidity to drip utilizing BUSD and the drip liberation contract without paying a tax. So this is rewarding people for adding liquidity to the system and allowing them to sidestep that tax because they're doing it, and creating buy pressure in for the asset, because half of that BUSD is used to buy drip and then pairing it. If we were giving people, if we were allowing people to deposit drip into the drip liberation contract to add liquidity, first of all, it would sell half of that drip to add liquidity. So then we're giving people a tax break on what's effectively selling drip. And then once you have the asset in an LP token, there's very little you can do as far as programming it. because the LP tokens are they're a token which is minted through PancakeSwap contracts. We have no ability to add in any kind of programmability into the token itself, so we couldn't apply a tax to it. And then what could happen is someone could just remove liquidity, unpair it, and now they have half what was in drip in BUSD, and they were able to do that tax free. So that's a lot of thought was gone into producing the products that we have now, and a lot of these things that are suggested often, I understand where they're coming from, and they make sense from like an overview perspective. But when you really get deep into how the protocol works, there are drawbacks with them, and often the drawbacks are just not worth they're not worthwhile. You're adding sell pressure. You're allowing people to avoid tax in a way that could be manipulated, and but oftentimes these suggestions, although they may not make total sense at face value, there's often a seed of an idea in there that could be used for something. So I do always appreciate them.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for answering that, Forex. So I got another question here for you, which you touched on in the past, and I would assume this is a little bit down the road. We wouldn't probably see this sometime later, maybe end of next year. But this is the fiat on-ramp for drip, which basically allows people to use fiat currency, debit, credit, or whatever to buy drip, essentially, so they don't have to kind of go through the loopholes of DeFi to get into the drip ecosystem. Can you kind of briefly touch on this, or at least what you can share?
Yeah, so we're in the process of applying for it. We applied for it initially. They wanted full KYC. Full KYC for us is it can be tough. One of the reasons for this is because I enjoy being pseudo-anonymous in the space. The reason for this is because I want to build innovative technology that challenges the current banking structure. And when you create products that truly challenge the current banking structure, you become a target. And they will target the developer specifically as a way to get at the DeFi products in a way that's really unfair, but that's the space we live in, right? It's really dog eat dog when you come to financial instruments, especially that are challenging the current authority. So I have models that I'm working with for the future that add a layer of privacy, that add a layer of non-KYC bridging from chain to chain, and really products that I see that really require the developers to be pseudo-anonymous, right? When I mean pseudo-anonymous, I mean everybody knows who I am. I'm Forex. They know my track record. They see I've been working in the space for a decade. It's all documented. They can go look. But I've been someone that has, even before I got into developing crypto, I have been a very private person that has enjoyed my privacy for a long time. I've understood the importance of privacy. Even back when I was young, when all of my friends were using Facebook and they're all creating their Facebook accounts, I never created a personal Facebook account. I've never created a personal social media account. I didn't even get into social media until I started working in the space and wanted to use social media as a tool. So you will never find a picture of me online, or like that doxing will never happen. And one of the things that I protect myself with is not ever KYCing. I've been trading and working with crypto for a decade. I've never KYC'd for any crypto platform ever, and I never will. This is a principal stance that I have. But what you can do is bring someone on as an advisor. They become an official member of your team. Give them some official role on the team, and have them KYC for the platform on behalf of the company. And this is what we've had to do previously in the past when we've done KYC, and this is what we've been working on for the past month or so. We have brought someone on. We're in the process of coaching them and getting them ready. We have the documents prepared. As I said, we already applied, and we're in the process of now handling the red tape and the final KYC procedures and all of that. And then we will see if our applications are successful. Now we have backup plans. If our applications are not successful, we have other assets that were accepted that we could potentially buy out and use them as an intermediate vehicle to essentially use them as just a bridging mechanic where we take advantage of their fiat on-ramp and just use them as a way where people can buy that token with the fiat on-ramp, and that token gets automatically swapped for drip. So we have backup plans in case our application is not accepted, and no matter what, we will have a fiat on-ramp. It's just how we're going to do it, and working, under the limitations that we need to work under to ensure that we remain secure and we don't make ourselves a target of the people. So I would say that's something that we will definitely make progress on by the end of the year. Hopefully in the next month or so, we'll know if our applications are accepted. If not, there's a couple other platforms we can reach out to, and we'll immediately start making steps to doing some sort of intermediate plan like I just talked about. And sometimes I say things and I'm kind of I'm giving some heat to when I mean heat, I mean like good info to potential competition, like that whole bridging, buying out another company to use their KYC on ramp and all that stuff. So some things I had to keep close to chest, but I just wanted to let people know we have a backup plan in case. So we will get that. It's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah. So quick question here, and I'm sure you get this question a lot. Thanks for the donation, John Rogers. He says, Forex, can you ask the counter to all the new maxed out wallets? And maybe he's, new to the system, but I think it's a valid question, for people that want to know in the community, for people that may be a little timid, for people that have larger positions than them. What would you say to that, Forex?
Well, maxed out wallets are beautiful. So we created a max payout specifically so wallets could not run away and generate exponential growth to the point where their dividend payout is unsustainable for the ecosystem and the protocol as a whole. And this doesn't prevent whales from getting involved, because you can deposit from multiple wallets. And we never want to prevent whales from getting involved because you need those large players to come in. What it does is prevent people from setting up a wallet, making a massive team, and then creating compound interest on all of the referral bonuses that they get. It limits that. So the reason why that's important is because if someone is just a large whale and a large depositor, they're putting that capital into the system that allows their dividend payout to be sustainable, especially when you consider the max payout mechanics. But when you have someone that has just grown a massive team, yes, they have created value for the system because they're bringing in and onboarding all of these people, but the reward payout is kind of more of a bonus. And limiting the exponential growth that they can make on this bonus is important for the sustainability of the system. And that's exactly what this max payout does, because if you hit max payout, yes, you can create a new wallet, but when you create a new wallet, you're not bringing over that whole team with you. So you're not earning referral bonuses on that whole team anymore. Right. And that's what keeps the system sustainable. The system has a exponential growth model when it comes to the team referral system, but it doesn't have an exponential or a undefined exponential growth model as far as earning team referral bonuses or earning ROI in the system. There's the 365 max payout, and then there's also the whale tax. Now, the max payout of 365 is based on your principal, and since you earn 1% compound interest a day, this means that people are hitting their, so it essentially it's impossible for someone to hit their max payout from ROI alone until at least a year after they get in. So this sustainability mechanic, which is one of the major sustainability mechanics of the ecosystem, doesn't even start to come into play until a year after launch. And we just hit our year after launch a couple months ago. And of course, a lot of people didn't come into drip until a few months after launch. And it's a lot of them actually didn't come in until like 6-7 months after launch. So that means all of this year, more and more wallets will be hitting max payout and will no longer be able to drain capital from the system without putting more capital into the system. And this is how we remain sustainable in the system. Now, let me just say, as far as price performance, when you consider yield, as I already said, we have outperformed all of these major assets. But also, you have to understand that in these markets, especially with crypto, people do not know how to buy value. People buy hype. And right now, we have all of this value which is about to launch. We have like a year's worth of products that are about to hit the market. And now is the time where the smart investors are buying value because they know that hype is going to come and that appreciation is going to come. And that's when they're going to make bank on it. Whereas, 90% of the market is waiting for these products to launch to get in and buy off this hype. So right now, I would say is a better time than ever to get into our products because we've had about a 4-month lull where we've been in the development phase. We've also had a major market correction where BNB went down like 80% or whatever it went down. So, I would say fear is at and around all-time high. We've peaked on that. We've had about 4-month development phase where not much has hit the market. So there hasn't been that new product hype. And now is the point where the smart investor says, okay, fear is at all-time high. We don't have all of this new product hype. We've gone a couple months without it. So all those people that don't know how to buy value and just buying hype have been essentially just selling or not buying. And now is the time to get in, as Warren Buffett says, buy when others are panicking and sell when others are exuberant. That's not an exact quote, but that's basically what he was getting at. Now is the point to do that with drip. And pigs, right? Animal Farm V2 hasn't gone live yet, but pigs is the governance token for Animal Farm. When you own and stake the pigs token, you are owning a share of the protocol itself, not just a share of the token supply, a share of the platform itself. So those who recognize the value of Animal Farm and what we're about to bring to the market, you have the opportunity right now to buy in to Animal Farm, stake into the pig pen. So when Animal Farm goes live, you're getting a share of all those deposit fees. You're getting a share of all that taxes that are going to be put on dogs. And you can beat 90% of the buyers. You can beat that crowd right now by getting in. And most people won't do that. The vast majority of people won't do that, but there will be some intelligent investors who will do that, and they will, reap rewards from those actions. Now, another major thing, I say, one more major thing that just came to mind that I can speak to is when we migrated from V1 to V2, there is, I think, somewhere around $15 or $20 million worth of TVL in the dogs token. When V2 launches, these dogs tokens, which are credited, because people who held the dogs tokens in V1 will be credited with them in V2. When they get issued or credited these dogs will have the 90% tax, vesting model attached to them. And that means that anybody that sells at the launch of Animal Farm will be taking 90% of the value of their dogs token, converting it to BNB and BUSD, and paying out those who are staking the pigs token and who are in the dog pound, staking their dogs. So, I would say, let's just say something that won't happen. Worst case scenario, everybody that got credited dogs decides, hey, we're going to dump them all when it goes live. That means $13-14 million worth of BUSD and BNB will be paid out to those who buy those dogs and buy those pigs and stake them on day one. So that's, worst case scenario, we create a $14-15 million reward payout to new investors. What's more likely to happen is some very small percentage of people that aren't paying attention or for whatever reason decide that they want to sell on day one. That's going to generate a 90% tax on them. That's going to go to all the new buyers that get in to the dog token or farm the dog token on day one, and also to the governance stakers. But, very few people, no one in their right mind would sell with a 90% tax. So the vast majority of people, I would say probably 99-98% will be staking it on day one. And that means all of the circulating supply will be locked on day one. And there's this huge incentive for people to buy at the launch. And, I see these assets outperforming any other farm reward token or governance token that has launched to date. And I see us blowing our V1 launch out of the water just due to all of the, the improvements we've made. And V1 did like a 20 or 30x pump on day one. So if we're blowing that out of the water, I mean, just, get prepared.
Yeah, for sure. So I got one other question personally for me, and then I have one other question here from the community Forex. So question here, he talks about the insurance you mentioned, and of course this is just something that's in the pipeline. Of course, is going to be, I'm guessing, down the road, but could you touch on that a little bit, kind of what your thought process is as in getting into insurance?
Yeah, so I would say, the roadmap that we're looking at is launch of Animal Farm in October, launch of the Animal Farm games by the end of October, launch of Scratchy at some point in November. December is going to be just promotion and support of these products. And next year, my main focus is going to be developing lending and insurance. So lending models and insurance models. And our lending and insurance, anything I build from this point on is going to be from the perspective of products that support all of DeFi. So insurance models, an insurance protocol that is able to insure PancakeSwap, it's able to insure Beefy, it's able to insure Auto, it's able to insure Animal Farm, lending models that allow people to stake and earn yield and lend and take loans out of, major assets, Cake, I don't want to name a bunch of other people's, assets, but you get what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
So models that scale and models that can be adopted and really be onboarded by all of DeFi, but always the initial proof of concept and the initial launch of them will be on our native assets and to support our native assets. So we always have that first head start on them. And then any adoption and any scaling and onboarding we do from that point on is driving attention and driving more capital into our own native assets and into our own native platforms. So that's the goal, right? And that's what we're going to do. And I think Scratchy is the first iteration of one of our products that it's going to be able to scale to all of DeFi and even outside of DeFi. But it supports our native assets and our native platforms. And next year is going to be lending and insurance. That's going to be one of my major focuses. And I'll give more information as we kind of get further in the roadmap. But we already have a ton of stuff that we're going to be focusing on up until end of year with Animal Farm, new drip products, and Scratchy.
Well said, well said. And also this playback will be available. So before I say the last thing here, if anyone has any questions regarding like anything I showed in the video, as far as like their Twitter, as far as the new white paper, that is in the description. So definitely check that out if you have any questions. Now, before we get out of here, Forex, can you kind of just give us a brief rundown? We got about 1,040 people in the chat or on the live stream here. And so could you give us a brief rundown on kind of what's going to be coming out here? I know we got Animal Farm, Pigpen, Dogs Roulette, Drip UI. Scratchy, and all of that good stuff. So kind of just give us a brief rundown, and then also when will the extreme marketing campaign start? Is that going to be the same week, I'm assuming, that the Animal Farm launches, the first week of October?
No, we're starting before that. So
Okay.
As soon as we put out a launch date, we're going to be starting a massive marketing campaign. Really, that's all we're waiting for, is to have a date that we can promote. That's important. So, and this is why this is why it's kind of maybe unusual. I gave a launch date to give the launch date, and it's because we wanted to have a date where we knew the launch date would be public, that we could start scheduling marketing around. So it was important that we set something in stone. And I wanted to give the community a heads up. Hey, we've marked this on the calendar. We're going to be giving the launch date then. But starting next Tuesday, we're giving the launch date. We're going to go on Bartertown first, because I promised him we're going to give him that interview when we do the launch date. And then immediately after that, right, banner ads will go up immediately. We're gonna especially front run some major interviews and some major articles up front, back run a ton right before launch, but it's going to be sustained, something new every day or every other day, whether it's a new major banner ad, a new major article, a new big Twitter space, a new interview, something big every day or every other day for the full month up until launch. And then we're going to go live. And then immediately we start doing a co-promotion of Scratchy and Animal Farm, and we roll it right into that. And then we go live with Scratchy about a month after. And it's going to be huge. So by the time Scratchy goes live, it's going to be like 2.5 months of hard-hitting promotion. And we have, because we already had a V1 of Animal Farm, we were able to build up a marketing budget, and we have a substantial marketing budget. We're going to be able to put 6 figures into marketing just in the next month for marketing the promotion. Like nice. When I say 6 figures, I'm not talking $100,000. I'm talking about 6 figures, and we're going to keep that rolling. And one of the great things about Animal Farm is the collateral hypothecation, which allows us to earn an additional $20-30 million a year. And about 30% of that is allocated to marketing. So we can keep this rolling. And a lot of the budget that we raised for V1 for marketing was not used. Almost all of it was not used. But anybody can look at the wallet and see it's all still there. Anything we didn't use is still there. And that's just because we didn't have our CMO then. We didn't have the partnership with the marketing firms. We do now. And we're going to be able to use that capital like no one has seen capital used before in the space from a marketing perspective. And that's I realized that I've known this for a long time, but it's about building the team and building the resources, which is something I put a lot of effort into the next 6 months. Marketing is important. Marketing is key. I would say marketing brings them to your platform. Utility, use cases, and value keep them there. And we have both. And we're about ready to show the market that.
Man, well said. Well said. Again, this playback will be available. So if you came into the live stream late, there was a ton of alpha drop by Forex. It will be available here probably within the hour. So you'll be able to see it back here on YouTube. Forex, is there anything that you would like the people to know before we go ahead and close it out for today?
Yeah, I would say on Twitter, Drip Community, that is the official Twitter social media. We're going to be dropping official social media for Scratchy. We're going to keep Drip and Animal Farm social media intertwined, since we've already started that, and that's where people know that they should go for Animal Farm promotion. Forex Shark with F0R3X_shark. I'm sure you can share links in the description or whatever. That's my personal Twitter account. Of course, there is the Telegram group. Telegram group is the best place to get the most current info. That's where the vast majority of the community is. We have an Animal Farm and a Drip Telegram group. They have something like 70,000 members between the two. And then there's the 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. So we're going to be doing raises in the 𝗬𝗬𝗨𝗥. We just did a raise for 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥, which is a third-party raise. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥 is founded by the same founder of 𝗬𝗥𝗡𝗄, which is was the #1 or #2 peer-to-peer Bitcoin exchange. That's about to be a massive development. They're about to go live and deploy their stuff in about a month. We have a handful of other third-party raises that we're in the process of reviewing right now and seeing if the community wants to do a raise. This is all stuff that if you're interested in, I would say go to the Telegram group or go to the Twitter. And if you go to the Twitter, you'll find links to the website and all this. The Animal Farm website is if you find a link to Animal Farm website, that is the V1 site. We are building a completely unique and new site for Animal Farm that will be live at the point that we give the launch date, so by the end of the month, so people can get an idea of the products right now by going to the original site. But the new site for V2 that we're launching is levels above it. It's a much superior site, and this is again just about bringing on more developers, having more resources to work with. Because previously with this Animal Farm site, me and my partner BB built it, a two-man show. Whereas now we brought on a designer, we brought on a UI dev who is specifically specializes in designing websites and designing UIs. We brought on a CMO who is working with someone who just does landing pages for the site. So, this is the new site is on par or better with the leaders in the industry. And I felt it was important that we provide something like that, because when someone hits our site, I wanted them to get a first impression that represents the value that our contracts are able to provide. So, that's just basically visit our social media and join our Telegram group, and keep your ear to the streets, because we're about to do some stuff.
Yes, we are. And again, all of the links that he talked about, the Telegram for a regular drip community, Telegram for the Animal Farm, the Twitter, and the white paper, all of that is in the YouTube description. So if you are curious on that to do some research, definitely check out the description and you should be good to go. We're almost about $9, which I'm sure we'll get there here real soon. Forex, once again, I want to say thanks for coming on to the show. I appreciate you dropping all the alpha. We appreciate all the love that the drip community showed. A super awesome community, probably the best community in crypto by far. So appreciate all the love. And Forex, we would definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Some people linked me to the original drip video you did. And, I very rarely share videos that promoters that I don't know do, but yours was quality, and I recognize that. And I'm glad that you reached out to do an interview. We'll have a follow-up in a couple weeks when we got that launch date. I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Likewise, Forex. And once again, thanks, drip community. And we'll see everybody at the top.
Later.